tragic, but from all tragedies, hopefully something positive can actually come from it. But of course, when in, I believe it was sort of May of 2020, the George Floyd murder, because that's what it is, happened, there was definitely kind of like a calling out there to turn around and say, Black lives do matter, and it is important that we recognize and celebrate them. And so Startup Grind started what was called Black Leaders Month in October, and they've run that every year since, which is incredible. And events, global events all around the world, probably 100 plus events that take place globally all around the world that host Black founders. I think in London in particular, as someone who's been involved in the startup ecosystem for well past 10 years, so yes, I do have a full sneaker collection, but I'm also very old. There weren't a lot of us around. I used to go to tech conferences all the time, and you could count how many there were on like one hand. So it is fantastic to see the number of Black founders that are not only in the room now and that are on the panel today building incredible companies.
Yeah, thank you very much. My next question is around what you just said. We're talking about Black founders, right? We don't have Black tech founders. So for example, we know entrepreneurship is something that is inherent in a lot of Black people, right? It's like built in DNA. A lot of Black people do trades, they do businesses, but we don't see a lot of Black people doing tech business, like starting tech companies, right? So do you want to talk about, and that question goes to Via, do you want to talk about why do you think we don't have a lot of Black people doing tech, like how doing tech businesses here?
Yeah, I think what it is they're underrepresented. There are Black founders building in tech. As you said, that we have an inherent entrepreneurial spirit. I think there's stats out there about Black women being some of the most entrepreneurial groups. But I think within tech specifically, I think sometimes when you're in tech, everyone buys into the hype that everybody's involved in tech. I have this issue with investors, sorry for you there, like everybody is in tech. Actually, it's quite a minority globally who are involved in tech, and there's not enough people. I think a lot of us are impacting and consumers of technology. We're not actually involved with the build of technology or the legislation or the governance of technology. So that is what it is generally. And then when you then take a small minority of people going into STEM subjects, for example, and then you then add the layers of systemic issues that prevent people going into that, then that further reduces. The pool itself is small, and then we have issues accessing that, whether that's, we're encouraged to go into different fields, or, we're not openly accepted. I was the only Black leader in the companies that I was in before, and that is quite stressful, and a lot of us are also leaving, whether it's their own business or corporate spaces that are building technology, because it's not a welcoming and an inclusive environment. And today I heard a talk at the AI in Society conference talking about there's a lot of work going on actually on the continent of Africa around AI and development, but the infrastructure is still not there. And when we're talking about training models with billions of parameters, and most of the investment is going to OpenAI, it's not a level playing field that someone building on the continent of Africa or the Caribbean or even here in the UK has. They don't have a level playing field. So the pool is small, then we don't have a level playing field to get into the pool.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's very profound. So if you have something profound, please do well to clap. Thank you. Yeah. So the next question goes to Damilare. So I was recently sifting through data and discovered the percentage of funding that comes to Black founders. In the US is a very abysmal number. And recently Technician released a similar number for the UK. Like we've got 1.7% of type representation, so we've got 0.013% thereabout. So yeah, so as a founder, right, or as a Black founder, can you talk to us about your experience? Or people put out numbers, statisticians put out numbers, but based on your own experience, do you think the numbers are real? Because it's very is very alarming, like that numbers so low. Yeah.
Well, good question. I think the numbers are very real. The number you referred to is 0.13% of VC funding actually goes to Black founders. But I think if you think about the funnel itself, Blacks, if I remember accurately, either 12 or 16% in terms of representation, but in tech we have about 4%. And therefore, if you think about how that distills down to funding, I think it will naturally kind of tailor in terms of people that will get funded because of people who will play in tech. But I also think there are inherent network issues that really happen. If you didn't participate in STEM subjects and you didn't play in tech, or you didn't get a chance to work in build a career in tech or build a career in VC, chances are that the network that can fund you is also very limited. So there are real problems in terms of access that needs to be solved for Black founders. I wasn't here 10 years ago. I flew past London. I was going to the US, I think, 9 years ago, and I attended a tech event. And I remember that most of the founders who were speaking at this event was a BTNG event, building things for Nigeria. Most of the founders none of them had received funding from the UK. They had all received funding from the US in terms of Black founders. So if I were to think about that, and now I'm a Black founder. I moved here 2 years ago. I've raised money from angels and micro VCs in the UK. I think there's been improvement. Is there much room for greater things to be done? I think that there is a lot more room. I also think that in terms of participation, something needs to improve. What you were speaking earlier about why we don't have a lot of people participating in tech is also safety nets. If you are not Black, there tends to be some form of safety nets that exist that doesn't exist for someone who's Black. There's also the pressure. This is a total digression. I find it very interesting that when Black businesses fail, particularly in tech, the quality of conversations around why they fail is quite. It's frustrating because you don't get those quality of conversations when people who are not Black do not succeed. I mean, you raise money off of a thesis, and you go try to prove out the thesis in the markets, and the market actually gives you an uppercut, a blow in the face, right? But those conversations are quite different. So I think it's a nuanced thing, but overall, I would say that it's improving. Save the macro. Last year, I reckon that the number in terms of VC funding was higher. Something shocking that in the UK, like if I recollect this fact right, there are only 2 Black women who have raised a Series A.
Wow. Shocking.
Yeah, if I remember that fact right, like 2 Black women who have raised a Series A. That's wow. That's mind blowing.
Yeah. So my follow-up question is going to go to Finn, right? Uncle Finn. Yeah. So, like Damari mentioned, like it took 10 years for you to see the number of improvement. Do we get to like wait another 10 years to see like a better, let's say doubling that figure, the numbers we've got in stats right now? What do we need to do to like leapfrog all of that happening? Because for example, we've got Black founders in other regions. For example, Africa. Like, I literally moved to the UK recently, so I'm very interested in the Africa ecosystem. So we're raising good numbers, but the Black founders in Africa literally leapfrog that process, right? Going through YC, going to Texas, in Toronto, going to YC in Silicon Valley to go raise money, rather than going to family offices in New York. So what do you think? How do we improve that process here in the UK?
Yeah. I think in answer to your first question, no, I don't think it will take another 10 years, and we're already seeing significant amount of progress. I think there are a few things that need to happen, right, without trying to be too generalistic on this. I think the first is you need successful exits, right? You just have to think the way sort of capitalist markets work is capital is cyclical, right? So it kind of needs to go from point A to point B. And in order for it to move from point A to point B, point A needs to exist first. I need to have capital to move it from me to basically you. In order for me to move my capital, I essentially need to have an exit. So what is essentially happening both on the African continent, in the USA in particular, there have been massive exits from predominantly Black founded companies, is that capital is now becoming cyclical. They're becoming either angel investors or setting up VC funds. And there's a difference, right? There's a big difference between angels and VCs, massive difference. And if you're as a founder, that is something is critical to absolutely learn. So I think it will definitely improve. To add to Ameliora's point is, as a founder, and I can say this now having sat on both sides, when I was starting mine, I was an advisor, so it was easy to advise founders every single time. Now that I'm on the other side of the table, I'm basically leveraging a lot of the stuff I was doing, which is network effects, right? Your network literally is your network, right? And that's not a cliche thing. It will literally, I've had doors open to me in the short space of 4 weeks, right? 4 weeks, right? I launched TiVo.ai, announced it on LinkedIn 4 weeks ago. About 3 weeks later, I announced Utility AI. And I literally actually had an angel investor offer me some funding just this morning in my LinkedIn. It was like, man, I love what you're working on. I can basically give you some funding towards it, right? So which is great, and I don't know if I'll take it or not. Yes, I'm in a fortunate position to do that. So your network effects essentially is absolutely critical. So I would encourage you all to kind of go out there and do the networking. And don't just go to the events that say you've got Black visionary founders speaking, so let's go to those events. Show up to the events where the VCs, the angel investors are there. As you start to build your network, hopefully that will then open up that capital for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys should have clapped because it's very hard to raise money in this, especially as a Black founder. So he says getting the team for an angel investment. So you guys should clap very hard for that. So thank you very much for that insight. So my next question is going to be like a rhetorical question or like a trick question. So I wanted to ask, as a Black founder, what was the easy thing? Like what was advantage? What's the advantage of being a Black founder? Did you get in the market when you launch your? Is there any advantage of being a Black founder? Is there any extra benefits you get of being a Black founder?
Can I go first?
You go first.
I think the first thing I've had to learn in my 2+ years is there's a nuanced difference between a Black immigrant founder and someone who's Black. And I think I inherently have some advantages I've come to recognize, which is that there are certain locked doors I don't recognize. And it's just because I've never had those systemic experiences that make me recognize them as locked doors. I think that's an advantage. So on some occasions, I've gone for opportunities and I've had that similar conversation with someone who's Black but not an immigrant. And they're like, well, we don't go for those kind of opportunities. Like, why? So I think that inherently that advantage of not, maybe 2 years plus now, some of it is starting to seep in when you be like, okay. I like to make a joke, or the second joke I like to make is about events. I was speaking at an event 2 weeks ago, and I said, one of my own pet peeves is when I go for events and it's a room filled with white people and Black people are trying to make another nation in one corner. I'm like, why? Yeah. Why not mix, right? So I think that advantage of wanting to challenge the status quo, wanting to break boundaries, I think for someone who is a Black immigrant, it's inherently an advantage. There's also the third advantage, which is that poverty is chasing me. I like to use that word, right? And I'm not because I won't say that I grew up. I don't have poverty porn stories, right? That's not what I mean. But I realized that the potential for success, if I were to succeed, right? I would be a real, and I'm not putting myself under any pressures, no illusions about that. But if I were to succeed, I'll be a real role model for a lot of people. And so that in itself gives me enough drive to every waking day. And maybe that's an advantage, maybe that's a disadvantage, I don't know, but I put it in my pocket of advantages or my arsenal of things that I've got going for me.
Thank you very much. You want to take the question?
I agree in a way as well, when you realize that you are sometimes the only one, or one of few, then you want to be visible to show others that it's possible. So I think that's definitely an advantage of being, I was going to yesterday, and it was women in AI, and there was 3 Black women. I brought one with me, so if we didn't come, that would have been it. And so, one of the other Black women said, if if you don't post it, then no one else can see that you were there and that you were in the conversation, and it helps others coming up against, who may have the idea that they shouldn't be in certain spaces, be there. Personally for me, I, wrongly or rightly, was always told I would only be the only one. So I kind of went around expecting that and just sort of accepting that when I went into spaces, which in one way was like, okay, I will go. I think around my mid-20s, I was like, oh no, I'm not a unicorn, so where is everyone? And when I got into positions where I could kind of bring people in, that was really important to me. And it's like, okay, if I can help the younger me or others know information, and that's whether that's a founder perspective or a corporate perspective, getting into like the big tech companies, no one just applies and takes an interview. There are platforms where people practice for months to get a job offer, and just knowing that information is quite helpful to be able to then get that job offer or negotiate. I have a younger brother, so I'm able to kind of pass back things to him. When he was negotiating, I went into the company, gave him his offer. I had the salary bands because of my position, and I said to him, there happens to be a report that day that came out that said that company still had, it's a very, very, very global company, had issues with how, their pay parity. And I said to him, send them an email and say, I've read this article, is the offer you're making this statistic worse or better? And they replied and said, send me what number you want. So this is what we have to do for each other. And I have to say, I've been doing this full time as founder for a few months. And it has been people who have said, hey, watch out for this, or try that, or speak to this person. That's been said your network. That's been the whole, few months of my founder journey was networking. I've been building for months before that, but actually growing has been through the network. Sam, I met in August. Yeah. Sam was like, I'm gonna speak to the team at Startup Grind to see how I can get involved. Yes. Next minute he was involved and asked me on this panel. So that is the network effect, and people put your name in places you don't know. Someone I met a couple of years ago put my name forward to be on stage in CogX at EO2. From there, someone put me on to another opportunity. So networking, don't just go to events and sit in the corner, as Finn said. Speak to people, reach out to people, and do the same back. So as people help you, you help others.
If I can ask that. You mentioned twice, but it's worth repeating a third time. Role model visibility is critical, right? Let me say it again. Role model visibility is critical. Because if you can see what's possible, right? You can see Afia building her business, you can see Damiari building their business, you can see Finn building his business. You're like, hey, actually, there's someone that looks like me, so it's possible. It's not easy, right? Thankfully I already lost my hair, so I don't have to worry about that, right? It's not easy, it's very, very difficult, but we need that role model visibility, because what the role model visibility creates is the inside knowledge, right? Her brother has now got a bigger pay packet, I know it's recorded, but whatever company, and that's because of the role model visibility and the access. And what I've definitely found is we're all very accessible, right? Don't be shy. I've sent emails to Strive, our COS team, who's founder of Econet. I've sent emails to James Manika, who is a senior vice president over at Google. And I'm like, hey guys, just take, they may say no, but if I keep following up and I have that call, that could be absolutely incredible, right? And I'm putting it out there in the world. I'm trying to get James Manika on my board of advisors. If you're watching this, let's make that happen. So role model visibility is absolutely critical, and then just get out there and network.
Thank you very much. So one thing I just want to touch upon on that is that, for example, if you're attending events like this, right? There's also something called social connection or social visibility, right? It helps you connect with a network pretty much talk about an event, take pictures of an event, and post about it on LinkedIn, right? So that way, you're literally narrowing, when I say narrowing, or maybe widening your connection or your network towards what things you like, or things you're interested in. That way, you get the algorithm to also show you more of things like that. Also get to connect. It's called social currency, you're right? You get more social currency towards that particular thing. So thank you very much for answering that question and laying it on the end. So one of the questions I've got is that I'm a student of history, so I read history a lot. So in the 15th century, we've got this Medici family. They invested in arts, right? They literally bought arts from everywhere in Europe, right? And that was literally what birthed the Renaissance movement, right? Where we saw other artists trying to take the art, also other artists trying to get inspiration from all the art they find in Florence. So it literally birthed that movement. So it also talks to what mentioned, maybe connect to the pattern of having representation or having something that inspires you to want to do more. So currently we are in the age of AI. Maybe some people don't know we're in the age of AI. So yeah, we've got two, and lucky for us, we've got two panelists here building in that space, building in the AI space. So I'm going to ask a question directly to you two, but Damla can come in to talk about other aspects of building, not generally just AI space. So what do we need to do to get, how do we create that kind of effect, that kind of Medici effect? I know there are people here that also need to be part of that, like maybe talk about allyship, talk about also them creating programs and activities and all that. But I want to hear from you guys specifically, like learning from your experiences. What do you think we can do to get more, people building around a space to be able to get other, more people coming behind, more inspired to do more?
So I also love history. So one of my favorite books is The Machine That Changed the World, which is about the automotive industry, where the Japanese companies after Henry Ford sort of started to introduce automation, and how that is directly correlated to the way we build technology today, but also how it spawned so many more economies and different roles and different jobs. So in one way, I'm optimistic with AI, but I feel like it will spawn lots of different economies. But there are challenges and there are risks, and I think oftentimes we can be consumers of it, but not understanding how the technology works. And I always cringe when people say, I'm not technical, because they mean I don't code, and technology is not just coding. You need lawyers, there's lots of lawyers in here. I've learned so much from some of the privacy people I've worked with and understanding how we should look at data. And the reality is the algorithm is just predicting the data, which is historic and biased and racist and sexist. So all of these things, you need to understand how that all works, and it doesn't always require you to code. Learning to code is great, and just like earlier I was trying my really bad French, you should try and learn different languages, how to communicate with either computers or people, so whether that's coding languages or spoken languages, because they're all great things to do, but that's not the only thing you can invest in. Well, look, things are moving very fast, and I would love for more people to start to understand all the parts that are moving, not just the algorithm, the infrastructure. Databases have changed in the last year in terms of what's needed, because we have embeddings and really different technical aspects. And for years I was trying to hire even a woman in DevOps, and there's no one in that space. There are so many different roles within the technology space that you get involved in. Different companies need to be created now that we have AI. And that can be in so many different spaces. So I think it's a really exciting time. There are lots of challenges. Again, I spent talking about the challenges of AI and the problems. More data doesn't always address that. In fact, there was some research I heard today that bigger data sets are more likely to classify any of the men on this panel as non-human or criminal, not less, right? So there are real problems. That's why everyone needs to be involved. That's what I'd say.
Thank you. I wanted to add an extra context, right? So I believe with AI, we can leapfrog a lot of some of these biases or some of these things we talked about earlier, but we need to communicate some of these things like people, like, I don't understand it. So for example, in Africa, say 20 years ago, there was a policy change, and Adam and I would know about it, that brought in the GSM, or telecommunication in Africa, right? So this is even a person from Zimbabwe that literally brought it to Nigeria, right? That's true, yeah, Vodafone, yeah. Then from there, it usually brought like innovation in Africa. So we don't have to it's just the same way Africa doesn't need to have a fax machine, to the fax machine to a telephone. The old telephone, the big, bogus telephone, right? Usually people move from maybe landlines to mobile phones within the space of 5 years, or within the space of 5 years, 10 years. I feel that similar policy literally brought Africa to the landlines in terms of having more internet penetration, having more developers, having people building more technical talent. So I believe AI can also do something like that. But how can Black professionals, people generally, but also Black professionals, people here, because I know people here are interested in technology, they're also interested in building on technology. So how can they? Yeah, I feel that's adding extra context to my question.
Yeah, great context. My one crew Strive, as I like to kind of call him, which is like a term of endearment, is the one that Sam spoke about. He was the founder of Econet. He did this interesting Google Talks video between him and James Monica. It's on YouTube, you should watch it, recommended watch it. They talk about AI in society, specifically in the space of African Americans, Black Africans, Afro-Caribbeans, basically Black people. And to Africa's point, it was don't just become users and consumers, right? Don't just become users and consumers. And the truth is, this applies to everyone in the room, right? You literally want to try and understand, you have produced so much data. Does everyone in this room know that you can go to LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram right now and download all your data? Yeah. All your data. Do you know that? How many people know that? Okay, do that. And try and do it every 2 weeks. Then start finding a tool to upload it so you can train your own algorithm. It's your data. Train your own algorithm to know your likes and your dislikes. So your algorithm can basically start turning around so that AI, obviously AI is a simpler term, but ultimately it's an algorithm. The reality of the matter is, AI is nothing new. It's been around for a while. I mean, the term was first invented in 1956, and then things like the Alan Turing test sort of kind of tried to create this view of artificial intelligence. So it's been around for a while. Tech people have known it as algorithms. Now AI's moment has arrived through things like generative AI, ChatGPT, Claude, Google Bard, where you can literally have what's called natural language processing, NLP, type something in plain English or whatever your native language is, and it gives you a response, right? That's the reason why AI's moment has arrived, that it feels so magical. The progress that is going to happen over the next 12 months, right? I'm not talking 3 years, 5 years. Over the next 12, what's happened since ChatGPT was launched in November last year, 30th of November it got launched, to now, even has those PhDs going, wow, right? And that's why I'm all in on it. I've been interested in AI since 2017, dabbling in it, but I was like, I'm sounding everything. My sneaker collection, I'm sounding it, right? Because this is literally the next great phase of things. So it was an interesting quote, gosh, forgive me, I've forgotten the guy's name. I mentioned it on LinkedIn, so for LinkedIn you'll probably find it. And he gave this advice, and it was so profound, and it was like, regardless of your career, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, you're working in retail, if artificial intelligence is not part of your growth plan, you are getting left behind, right? So if AI, regardless if you're a lawyer, regardless if AI is not a part of your growth plan, you are getting left behind. And there are plenty of nuanced tools. There's like 100 days of AI, Google it, will come up, it'll start giving you like 100 lessons over 100 days that you can do that are bite-sized. Matt Haney is behind that. And if you're saying, hey, I'm not technical, you can get behind something like that to learn. So I would definitely encourage everyone, like I'm selling my sneaker collection, right? And that's a big deal. It's here to stay. Let's not just be consumers of it, right? You can build the next great company. One of our speakers we got confirmed for Tiva.ai next year. I was at the Broughton event last week Tuesday, and he was like, he sold it to AI companies, and he was like, he's convinced. He was like, the next $1 billion company is going to be founded by a solo founder, and it's going to be built within 12 months, right? And then funny thing is, now you're looking at some of the valuations of some of these companies, and Anthropic has just received a commitment of nearly $2 billion from Google. They got both Google and Amazon invested in the company. Company's like 3-4 years old, and is worth, a few billion. And they're Silicon Valley. So it's very possible for you based in London to do that. It's very possible for some kid based in Africa to build the next multi-billion-dollar company, but we need to move from just being users and consumers to actually producers.
Can I just carry out one thing? I was on the down saying like we're not always gonna agree on things. But I think something we talked about actually was AI is, I agree with everything you said, like it's gonna be the future, it's gonna be cool. But there are also things we still need to do and build. So AI is not gonna solve everything. Also, if your data's not up to scratch, you need to sort that out before you apply AI. And then just basics, like if I can't track my order on your website, don't tell me about AI. just get some basics right. Give me an FAQ, give me an email I can contact. There are so many things that, just the basic things to sort out before you add a chatbot. Like I don't care about your chatbot if I can't find out when my order's due. So it's the balance of, as Finn said, learn, it's the future, but also understand there are lots of parts of the system that need to work with artificial intelligence.
Thank you.
Yeah, so everything we build at Fulham is actually powered by AI. And I'm conflicted in terms of the evolution of AI. I think inherently the advantages for what we call AI now would rest with the big players and not necessarily as a strong differentiator, a different class. Now that's one class of conflict. There are classes of conflicts that agree with Finn's thoughts where solopreneurs and indie hackers are the ones building the next $1 billion businesses. Don't know how well that would be, but I ultimately skew towards this angle where I find that a lot more of the advantages in AI. And I was listening to a podcast by the CEO of Google DeepMind. The conversation is actually moving past AI now, so everyone is forecasting the AGI date, right? 2028 seems to be, there's some big consensus around generalized intelligence towards 2028. And I think that advantage will significantly rest with them. Now, for Black founders, Black professionals, I think just three things I'll say. The first is that there are AI tools that you as a professional can use. There's a brilliant blog post by Sam Altman. Now, if you take all the political colorations you might have with Sam Altman, I think you should read it. It's Moore's law for everything. Fantastic predictions. There are different arguments about why I made such predictions. But the ultimate truth is that if you are a professional and you aren't using at least any tool of AI today, get on one. There are too many tools out there that I think there's been so much doom predictions. AI is going to take all our jobs, kill us, do all those kind of things. But I think ultimately, AI is just going to make one person be able to increase their output. So with the same team, you can 10x your production. And that's what you as an individual need. So someone using an AI tool is going to 10x what you without an AI tool is using. I think the second thing is something maybe not everyone in this room can do something about. I remember 2017 or 2018 when the Chinese premier launched this very small book, which was AI for pretty much what you call AI for toddlers, right? And they made the news where every toddler had it penetrated every school, you had AI, this small, simple curriculum for toddlers. Well, not necessarily toddlers, but I'm trying to illustrate the point. And I think that it's something we need to do on our continent and in our communities, that needs to replicate that kind of, I don't want to say giving up on us and focusing more on those coming after us, but I think that's where we need to give them inherent advantages that can balance it. I think that's something that we can do and be more involved in. I was telling Sam that in Nigeria, where I come from, the current Minister of Digital Technology is holding an event to have this kind of conversation just about 30 minutes away from here, to talk about this, how do we change the narrative around AI, how do we craft AI policy for nationhood and for state building. I think that those things need to change. And then as a founder, to Afia's point about not just being a consumer, but being involved in conversations around it, I think it's getting into platforms where conversations have been had. The last 2 days, the conversation has been about 48 hours. If you're on US Twitter, it's been about the US regulation on AI and compute power capping, and everyone has written a thesis on why they think it's blocking innovation, why they think it's not blocking innovation. But I find out that if you look at the quality of the conversations, people of our color are not involved in those kinds of conversations. So if you get in those conversations, chiming in also drives representation. It also makes more people kind of, you know what, maybe I really need to read more about what exactly is this conversation. And to Afia's point, the concept of technicality or technicals is also changing. As this evolves, we're going to need a lot more, well, my theory, we're going to need a lot of ethicists to have these conversations, right? Because there's one of the biggest things is super alignments and how you define what our AI systems are aligned. And ethicists are going to play a big importance or a big role in defining that. So I think there's too many professional fields that you can pick up as a career person, as a founder on the side, to actually play a critical role in the evolution of AI towards AGI, because I think AGI compared to AI, if you watch a lot of sci-fi, Foundation is my best on Apple TV. We have not seen anything yet. We're playing, we're playing, right now we're still playing, it's still, ChatGPT is great, but we have not scratched the surface.
Sure. Thank you very much for that input. We're catching up great. Thank you. I think we're saying nice things about AI, so when the AGI comes, it should spare us on this panel. So we're good for now. Well, thank you for your input. Like what you said is really important. And also the UK is currently, I think maybe next month, there's going to be like a policy direction from the UK government as well on AI. But it's really important. I feel new technology gives us opportunities to leapfrog the old processes. So it depends on how you're able to like adopt it and also take it in. So this panel is not an AI panel. It's just like a branch. So I'm wrapping up the panel now, but I've got like a final question or like an important question I really want to ask. I want to know what are the biases that you face or bias you face, right? Maybe in fundraising or in just being a Black founder, right? Because we've talked about different aspects. I've got people that want to start a company, people that started a company, that are running a company, maybe they're not at their stage yet. So maybe you give them what to expect, some people are maybe over the stage you're in, or they might still be able to relate with some of the bias you've experienced. So I'm going to start with Afia to talk about our experience as a Black female founder, then we'll go on. Thank you.
I have to admit I'm still early in the game. But what I would say is I think some of the challenges have been internal. For example, we talked a lot about sharing what you're doing, going on LinkedIn, and I personally find it so cringe to post on LinkedIn. And I gave myself a reason, I couldn't do it before because I had this very corporate professional career. I managed 50 people. If they saw me posting about certain, business on the side, it could be conflict. And then when I left, I still didn't want to post online. So I realized that was actually myself holding myself back. And what I would just say is just do it. And then on the other side of that, it's a lot easier. I've been doing it now for a few months. It's still cringe, but I do it. And it's not as bad as it was when I first did it. I think, I also have a lot of privileges. We talked about, like whether you're immigrant or whatever. Everyone has a privilege as well. My education was a privilege. My network from family, from people I know, from work. Working in a VC-backed scale-up, I was reviewing pitches for VCs on certain tools, which means that once I left, I was like, hey, and they then introduced me to other investors. The founders of where I used to work have gone on to like raised second companies, and they're now introducing me to people. So I have some of those privileges. But even, some people who advised me who are, very well connected, very senior, was like, be careful, some investors want to talk to you because you are a diverse founder, and they need to tick the box to say that they've spoken to X number of diverse founders. So I'm still going through the process. I can't give, I can't say I was impacted or not. I'm still just starting to raise. But I think it's just something to be cognizant of, but don't let it hold you back. And speak to people, get advice from others, build your network long before you go out and be a founder. Plan. I think Valeria and both of them mentioned having that safety net as well. Again, I was able to build up financially before I went and made this decision. And that's not always the case for everyone. Again, don't let it hold you back, but just be aware of the challenges you face and find ways to, just like if you're building technology, mitigate the risk. It doesn't stop you building it, but you just know that you have to put different safeguards in. You might have to say, hey, mum and dad, I need help on this, or overpaying your mortgage while you're still employed, so that if there is a gap, these are real practical things that you might need to consider and plan for. But I don't have yet the full, maybe talk to me in a year.
Well, two classes of bias. The bias I have against the system, and the bias the system has against me. So I'll say the one I've experienced. I think there is a bias around pattern matching, right? Where you schooled, where you worked, there is that bias. And I think whether you're black, white, colorless, it affects you, right? I think I've experienced that, right? Where I did school at Oxbridge. I schooled in the University of Nigeria. You can inherently tell when you look at certain VCs, and you can match the axis, all the partners, everyone in that VC actually went to school. So I've seen that experience up close in terms of bias. I think the other bias I have against the system is that if you're a black founder, certain things would not fall into your lap, certain things would not work. What I've done, and I won't say that it's been foolproof, is I've been quite aggressive. I've owned that bias myself, where I know that I need to work 4 times as hard to get half the results for someone who isn't black. I've owned it. I don't think of it as a bias, I just think of it as a reality. And unfortunately, US, Japan, wherever you go to, China, you're going to face that. That's the way the world works. So I've come to own that I just need to work a lot more, much more harder. And maybe as we have more successes, like you said, if we get a lot more successes, exits, maybe that starts to back founders. I give an example. I challenge some of the capital sources in Nigeria and say, we've got quite a few people who are moving to other parts of the world. Why are you not backing founders? There are funds in different parts of the world that back specific people in the diaspora, right? So if you're from a particular part of the world, wherever you go in the diaspora, you still get a pool of capital. Someone who's black, there are very limited sources of funding that backs you because you're in the diaspora. People within our own community also need to have that conversation. How do we back people that are going into the diaspora? How do we provide sources of capital for them and support them? Because people back people that look like them.
Sure.
Okay, so much like Phil, I'm still very, very new, so I have not had the displeasure of having biases. But I've reflected on it a lot, I think, as I've been in the space, and I'm definitely taking the leap out of Valeria, but it's your loss, right? It's as simple as that. You don't back me, you don't work with me because my surname is not Smith or Johnson. That's your loss. I don't need people like that in my network. It is your loss. So I've always believed that the biases exist, unfortunately. That is just a fact of life. And you have a choice. You can choose and you genuinely have a choice. It is unfortunate, so let's paint, it is unfortunate, it is sad, it's depressing, it's horrible, it's all those negative things, but you have a choice to basically let that impact what you want to build. The beauty of the world that we do live now is there are definitely a lot more positives where there are people doing incredible things. There's a guy called Dean Forbes. Any of you guys know Dean Forbes? You are not following Forbes family group on Instagram, and you're on the gram, go look them up. That is role model visibility. He hosted an event about 2 weeks ago for his birthday, and he said something profound. He was like, look, at the end of the day, he was doing a deal, and it was in Germany, and like, he clearly the guy was racist, and he was like, I have a choice, right? And at the end of the day, that's the fact of the matter. You always have a choice. You can choose to walk into the room and those VCs, look me up and down and like, they don't like me. It's like, okay, you get up and you bounce. You can go next door and you find the next best possible company. So just be very careful that you don't let biases impede your vision and what you ultimately want to go out and achieve.
Thank you. So I think it's time to take some questions from the audience. We've got 2 slots. So if you have any question, you can raise your hand. I'll pass it back to you.
No questions.
Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So my question is like, what is it like about your business that kind of like what were you passionate about that kind of made you choose to build in that space, right? Like, were you passionate about cloud? Is that what you grew up cloud? Were you like passionate about food? And, like, is that kind of what like made you choose? Yeah, what made you choose to go down that route?
I'm passionate about a lot of things. I'm passionate about video games. I'm passionate about history books. Fortunately, the idea for my current business was my co-founder's idea. He reached out to me, found me on the co-founder matchmaking site. I just happened to be the perfect person to lead the business because of my experiences. I did do a blog post, an article narrating why I joined. I think it was 3 things. The first is food is universal. After cats, food is probably the most searched thing. So I thought it was very universal. The second was, I think that the confluence of technology and the things, so wearables, everything, and the data you're churning out, it's going to produce quite a lot of new types of assistance in the future. So I always knew that for food, there was an opportunity to play in that space. And then the third was the passion came gradually. I have to own that because my co-founder, within his family, has got a set of allergies, intolerances, lifestyle choices. I'm an African. Your parents spank you if you don't eat your food, right? So for some things I struggle, like, what? But because of my experience, I don't work in food manufacturing. I did write in the blog post saying, when my co-founder reached out, like, give me a week, I need to go read up, right? And that's what I did. I studied and I'm like, there's some things. And we clarified quite a few things. It's not what we used to think we were going to do and we started out that we're actually doing now.
Can you answer the question?
Yeah. I would also love to get your thoughts of you as well.
Yeah, so a similar story. I've known my co-founder for over 20 years. We have family friends in common, and we're both studying engineering, and it was kind of that, family pool party, oh, engineering, talk to each other. So we've known each other for a very long time and been, looking at, we're friends, looking at what things were happening. And he was working as an actuary, as a consultant, going into companies and looking at doing analysis and investment analysis, cash flow analysis for the biggest corporations who could afford to send his whole team at £350 per hour each, right? As millions of pounds to do this intelligence mapping. He always says, I didn't get the whole £350, but that's the budget, in terms of making really astute strategic financial decisions. The reality of that, and we were talking one evening, that many of businesses in our communities don't have access to that. I'm wearing jewelry tonight from a seller that has emailed to say they're closing down, right? They don't have this intelligence and financial insights that the biggest companies have. But even some national brands, I was working in the biggest retailer in the UK, and I was putting spreadsheets every day, despite how much money we spent on tools like Tableau and such like that. And again, then I ran data teams who hated doing dashboards for the sales teams. So we could see at every stage, from the small to the biggest, that it was just like throw more people at the problem, throw more people at the problem. And I think subconsciously also I have a passion around sharing information and access. So I would say that it was necessarily intentional, but I guess you attract different things. And so together with the problems we really observed, both in our day jobs, in the fact that we were consumers of businesses that we loved that would close down and run out of money, and the fact that I believe in fair access to information, as I just kind of shared a story about my brother, and I'm always saying like, have you tried this? And I met someone tonight who I was like, make sure you go to this event, make sure I'm always trying to share, and we believe that Cloud.fo democratizes the intelligence that is usually served to the biggest companies by getting a bunch of consultants to come in. We're giving you that in our software.
Thank you. You've been an amazing audience. All right. Clap on cue. Thank you.
Can we clap for them?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, thank you. So I think we're going to round up the panel now, but I want you guys to share actionable insight in terms of, we've got founders here, how do we, founders that want to tap into what you're building, you want to give them actionable, share some actionable insight, and also maybe someone can talk, maybe Finn should talk from the investors' point of view in terms of how do, I know you're an angel investor yourself, you have to talk about investor point of view, how do investors do better in getting more representation for Black founders and things.
Cool. So thank you all for being super patient and coming along to the event. Hope you found it incredibly valuable. Key takeaways. Number one, make sure you leave with at least 3 new people from today's event. That's simple rule. You go to an event, leave with 3 new people that you don't know, connect up with them on LinkedIn, ask them the questions, and then follow up. That is definitely rule number 1. When it comes to investors, build your network. I think we've said that a few times. That is just so critical. Yes, some people will be more privileged than others. As I say, I recognize I'm in a very, very privileged position to be like, hey, people are saying they want to invest in a company that is 2 weeks old. It's very, very fortunate, and I haven't even gone out to officially try and fundraise, but when I do, I know exactly who I'm going to call. But that hasn't happened over 24 hours. That has happened over the last 10, 15 years that I've been building my network, my credibility, my value prop, that I know investors that would be like, it's you, Finn, we'll take a punt. Here's £500,000 to go and validate the product. So I know I'm very, very fortunate to do that. But ultimately, for you all in the room, just spend time. I don't know where you are in the phase of your journey, but Rome was not built overnight. That's just the truth. Just take time, trust the process as much as possible.
Thank you.
Well, maybe I'll just chime one thing in. Finn called it 3, and I call it the principle of 13. I always try to meet at least 13 people every event I go to. 10 people I have very surface conversations with, like hi. And 3 people I have deep conversations with. It's worked for me, probably doesn't work for everyone. I find that chances of a follow-up when you're on a deeper level of conversation with at least 3 people is much higher than when you try to do surface conversation with a lot of people. So I think that's maybe, it's not anything, it's just my own principle. Probably yours might be 12, yours might be 101.
I'll speak from an early stage perspective. I would say really think about and plan going to go on this journey, particularly if you don't have a safety net. Think about how you're going to fund yourself, think about the practical sides of entrepreneurship, but don't let it hold you back, as we said. Network, as we said, but we've just been giving out specific tips about networking. And one thing I now appreciate, that I didn't necessarily appreciate when I was younger, was when people say follow up or let me know how I can help, actually do that. And I know in my early career, I was like, what is this senior person wanting to follow up? But actually, that's how you build relationships. It's not just about connecting on LinkedIn and then that's it, but follow up. If they give you advice, let them know how that advice worked and how it played out. I have a boss that I had 12 years ago who still sends me happy birthday, still follows up, still sends me a Merry Christmas. And now I try and get them happy birthday in or Merry Christmas in back, you know, because these are people who care about you, who want to see you do well. And, you know, at first I was like, why do they care? But actually, that means you're not valuing yourself, and they see something in you that you may not see yet. So I would say, yeah, make sure you do actually follow up with people when they say follow up. And on the investor side, if you are raising, build that network, get people to introduce you. There are accelerator programs that you can do. Some are 1 day, some are 6 months. And yeah, just try and navigate that. And actually, if people are misbehaving, call them out. I've done that a lot in my career as an only black woman in leadership. Because if you don't, they go, well, I'll do it to somebody else. So don't be afraid to call people out in an appropriate way, because sometimes we might just have to check them. So yeah, don't be afraid to do that too.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, so we're moving to the next part of the event. This is not the odd part of the event. We've got a mock pitch. So the panelists are going to still be on seats while we do it's a very short mock pitch. Yeah, we just wanted to get your feedback on some of the founders that are here today. They're going to share their bit. Just 2 minutes. So they're going to be sharing their for 2 minutes, and you're going to be talking, give your feedback. Give your feedback in 2 minutes as well. So, and that will be this great. Give them a round of applause, please.
I'm mindful I'm really keen to be doing some networking. I know you've been sitting there for quite a long time, speaking a lot as well. So I'm thinking, Sam, if you're happy with this, I wonder if we can just do just the pitches and just get them through and done quite quickly. I know we're really keen to get back on, and then we'll catch you everyone later on and get your feedback. Is that okay? Sure. Yeah. Give you a chance to take a breath, so it's an incredible panel. So I'm very aware that I am the only thing standing between you and more drinks and networking. So let's be as quick as we possibly can. So we've got 3 startups and founders or startup leaders pitching. So 2 minutes, we're going to be very strict on it, just because we are keen to wrap up. So anyone pitching, can you come forward, please?
You want to do your part?
We're going to go in order. So Paris first, then Melvin, and then Jeff at the end. Paris?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, you ready? Excellent.
Yeah.
So this time, producers
I'll
on 2
time
minutes.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
And she'll give it us when
Let's
it's
see.
up. You ready? Straight in the deep end?
Let's do it.
Yeah?
How are you all doing today?
You get it?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Over to you.
Right. Anyone here ever had a dull knife or pair of scissors? Yeah. No. Yes. Yeah. Okay. If you have, you might have used one of these. This is a sharpening stone, known in Japanese as a shigeto. Right, don't worry, I'm not selling these, okay? Let's get rid of that. What am I selling? I'm the founder, broken. I'm the founder of SHTO Consulting, Faris Ranki. We answer the question, what happens when your strategy goes dull? You come and talk to us. We help sharpen your strategic effectiveness. We do that by blending emotional intelligence and strategy. We're doing it for 4 years. We work with companies all around the world, different types of industries. Some of our clients are Amazon, Heineken, Anglo-American companies you may have heard of, but we also work with startups, so we love to work with you guys. Yeah, I could bore you with other details, but the key is we do innovative, engaging facilitation and training. Just like this. We get your attention, we make shit happen. Right, you want to find out more? Come and talk to me. I'm Faris Ranki. If you want to buy a shigeto, I've got 3 parts here. Thank you very much. If you know what
Fantastic. What's the start? So we've got Melvin up next. Top hat to follow, but I'm sure we'll be just as good. Over to you.
Good afternoon. One thing I do want to say is that this is a really good event because as a Black founder, it is extraordinarily difficult as a Black founder to succeed and to see people here and have an event like this where there's exposure, but also seeing people succeed is great. Now, my company is, for example, I believe in keeping it simple, stupid. So my company is called MyLifeM. So a lot of people here, pretty much everybody here, they've gone to clubs all over the UK, other cities, like clubbing is life here in the UK. And London has one of the best club scenes in all the world, better than any city in the States. So my company is, so say for example, you're in London, you want to go to Camden, you want to go to Shoreditch, or you want to go to Piccadilly and hang out. There's no app out there that shows you admission for the venue, type of crowd, dress code, how much to get in, you know, what artists are performing. There's nothing out there that shows that information. And also, if you were to go to, I was just in Zurich over the weekend, I'm like struggling to find a club to go to, hang out, have fun. So my app actually simplifies the night like scene. You just have all that information for the venue, type of crowd, dress code, everything you need to know. We also have a Waze feature, so people can actually upload comments and pictures and videos because each venue has its own timeline, so you know how the venue is in real time for the people that are actually in the club. And we want to be nationwide, worldwide, because people don't realize, you go to Paris, clubs will start to 1, if you're in the States, Miami, they're like, you have to be really dressed up. So it's just that there's nothing that consistently gives you the right information that you need. And on top of that, when people actually upload comments and pictures and videos, we're going to create an ecosystem with blockchain technology. So you can actually get rewarded with coins, so get into the club for free, pay for free drinks, and then on top of that, you can actually pay for your Uber home. So we're going to create a whole ecosystem. And something that Finn said that was really intriguing to me was that he said within the next year or two, it's going to be a company that's going to be $1 billion company. That's going to be my company right now.
We've got to finish. Last but certainly not least, Jeff, are you ready?
Yeah.
What do you think?
All right. The first time I ever wrote code, I was 13, and my biggest motivation was to have my church Wi-Fi for a girl I liked. She's married now, and not to me. Right. And so I had a lot of time to get good at programming and try different things. And so you can imagine my shock by the time I was 22, from 13 to 22, I was laid off from the job. And that was for the first time ever in my life, because it got to a point I wasn't applying for jobs with CVs again. I was getting jobs based on recommendation because I've had so much time and I've become so good. But I was laid off for the first time at 22, and I realized that I had made no plans for my future or anything because I was making so much money. I lived all over Africa. I was making about $4,000 a month. That was good money. I had no benefits plans because I've been working on structured work. And so I am building Ena to solve this problem, to provide gig workers, independent contractors, entrepreneurs, like some of us here, with the structure that you leave behind when you leave the corporate world of creating benefits. So basically, we're doing to benefit what Spotify has done to music. We have a marketplace of benefits, different benefits from different providers, but based on your data, based on your preferences, we help you curate the specific benefits that you need, like retirement plans, insurance plan, dog, whether it's protection for your dog, your cat, your furniture, whatever. That's what we're doing, and that's helping more and more people live the life they want. Most people are in jobs they hate today because of this protection. If Ena is successful, we think we'll liberate a whole force of entrepreneurs from Africa and from all the developing countries of the world, and that's what we're doing. So what do we do today? Where are we? Well, we just raised the MVP of Ena, and we've been doing that for the past 3 months. And we are open to interest to accelerators. If you're an angel and you're interested in investing or whatnot, please.
Time's up.
So you can thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Not easy coming up on stage. Everyone did an incredible job. So thanks so much. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Melvin, and thank you, Jeff. Another round of applause. So back to you, Sam. Are you happy to wrap up and then sort that way?
Thank you, everyone. So I think now we've got some community announcement. So if you reach out for a community announcement, you can come forward. So we've got STS and just transition. That's it.
Round of applause, please. Hi everyone, so I'm from the Startup Discovery School. We build incubator and accelerators for founders in the climate space. And today I'm here to talk about the incubator that is starting in January. It will be a 12-week program for people that have an idea in sustainability, in climate. I'm taking applications right now, so you can talk to me, you can check our website. There will be a pitch competition to win cash, there will be free co-working space, and full support for your incorporation and for your business to succeed. So yeah, talk to me or check on LinkedIn, Startup Discovery School. Thank you.
Carla?
Hi, my name's Carla. I'm from Birmingham. You might know it's from the accent. So I run a community called Black Tech in Rome, and I started it because my own journey in tech I found really isolating, and I wanted to have a community of peers that I could share that with. I was like, there's got to be more people like me in Birmingham. It's not just me that works in tech that's feeling like this. And they all came, and that was really good. So I've been doing it now since May. We've had some really good achievements. We've had someone get onto an accelerator through Black Tech in Rome. We've had someone get their first internship role. We've helped people get into jobs as well. We did a partnership with UK Black Tech in September, and that was really well attended and really good. So we're just trying to continue the journey for 2024. One of the things that I really want to do is to get some of the founders in the community access to investment as well. So if you are in here and you're interested in investing in diverse founders outside of London, then I'm definitely a person to speak to. And what we're looking for at the moment is just any kind of like support. It could be in terms of network, it could be sponsorship if you want to sponsor one of our events, or you want to support us in some way. All help is absolutely welcome. That's me. I'm Carla. Black Tech in Rome. Thank you.
Don't worry, let's talk about us.
Just talk about ICE. I did talk about network. A notorious networker. I'm very active in quite a few networks, and one of them is ICE. It's a network of 500 plus tech entrepreneurs from very early stage to very late stage. And we do a lot of social stuff, softening, skiing, very whitey stuff. But ICE has got a program that I recommend for underrepresented founders to apply for. It's a really good network, you get access to like the best VCs. If you think about most of the best VCs in the ecosystem, they are probably part of ICE. And the program has been designed is you will go through this program, get exposed to VCs, founders of very late stage companies as mentors, and you'll expand your network. So again, the link is there. I recommend you please apply. It's a network of 500 plus people. And I think that if I am not wrong, there are less than 3% of us who are black, or 2% if I'm not wrong. So it would be great if you apply. This is not to join the community, but this is to go through this program. And then you go through the training program itself, and you get exposed. I think it's really impressive, and then you get opportunities to join ICE. So here again is the link, ICE Network, ICE program. Please join. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you everyone for joining and listening to our community announcement. We've got another event happening next month, 17th of November, called Invested in the Future of Business. We've got Scott Cohen and Cliff coming around for the event. Also, on the day of the event, we're going to be having like a startup clinic where we're going to be all of our partners, TikTok, iWallet, Supreme Factory, they're going to be having their own like cubicle. So if you're a startup founder, you come in there, we've got like a clinic, you talk to their team. For example, you talk to iWallet's team, you talk to TikTok, and TikTok got some credits. They're giving to small business owners, so you can do some marketing on TikTok for free. Not for free, with the credits, right? So yeah. Yeah, I've also got some global goodies. So yeah, that's that about this upcoming event. So go to startupline.com/London and you'll be able to get that across. For our startups that pitch today, we've got some global credits as well from HubSpot, Zendesk and the like. So when you raise money, you don't need to like use your money to buy some of those things, right? We've got credits. We're definitely going to share that with you as well. Before we close, I've also got a program coming up called with Fame, right? TVO.ai. So we've got an acceleration program coming up for startups in the startup founders in the AI space. So if you're building anything in the AI space, like you want to be a part of that, you can talk to me. I'll definitely be happy to give you more context regarding that. And this is where to find us. If you're attending our event for the first time, definitely get to find us there, connect with us on LinkedIn. You can also do a post about this event, take a picture with someone new, do a post about the event. You can take a picture with me and do a post of the event. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you. Matt, are we having any other hangout outside of it? Hello, Matt?
Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was it?
Are we going to the pub?
Yeah, the Barrow Boy and Banker across the road.
Okay.
So after this, yeah, we'll all head over there.
Over to the pub, yeah. After this, we're all to the pub. Thank you.
Cool.
I haven't seen you. Good to see you in person. Not on the Zoom call. Yeah, thanks. Have you moved to London now officially? Because I know you're saying
I was always on the London and I went to myself. My doctor she's
I mean, I love the fact that my eye. Brilliant. Yeah, I'm doing really good. For you, man. Have you met Lana and Treasure? Enjoyed it? I'm part of the furniture, right? Definitely part of the furniture. Brilliant.